Ladies and gentlemen, joining us for tonight's tribute is co-executive producer and co-writer of the popular television series The Chosen. Please welcome Mr. Tyler Thompson.
In her poem, The Summer Day, Mary Oliver poses the famous question, "Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?" When we hear it, it's a question that momentarily haunts or inspires. What will I do with my one wild and precious life? And then we forget. The tedium and distraction of life drown it out until, it pops up again on an inspirational social media image backgrounded by a sunset over a lake or a person walking along a road. But it's just a sentiment, here and then gone, fleeting like life itself. But for Stephen Moe Thompson, the answer was lived out, with blood, sweat, and tears, not for anyone's applause or a pat on the back, but guided by God and driven by their own innate impulse to make other people's lives better. To love without limits, to nurture, care, restore, and somehow make it look fun and exciting in the process, and an adventure, which I'm telling you, it was. In Judaism, there's a Hebrew phrase, tikkun olam, which means to repair the world, because it's a broken place with hurting people desperately in need. You don't have to look far to confirm that. But the problem is no one person or couple can save the world, end global conflict, hunger, poverty. It's all too big and overwhelming. But for Stephen Moe, they could, for one, then two, and then many, interrupt cycles of conflict, hunger, and poverty. For children whose life trajectories they rerouted at great personal cost, sacrifice, and selfless love. They picked up their needle and thread and did their part to stitch back together their little patch of this rended quilt we all live on called Earth. Only there was nothing little about it. It looked like a household of 18 children. And that's 50 loads of laundry a week, 2 dishwashers, 2 ovens, 3 chest freezers, 3 hot water heaters, 476 pairs of socks a week to be sorted and matched. Let's say that again. 476 pairs of socks a week to be sorted and matched. A 15-passenger van, very chic. 6 sets of bunk beds, 20 beds in all, and several extra mattresses when friends came to call. Always a light on in the window for the next weary traveler. They took us to Alaska because, what they were already doing wasn't wild and crazy enough. And there we hiked for miles, and we camped and ruined library books in the overnight dew. We huddled together in the rain under bushes on steep slopes, crashed our bikes, because it's not a real adventure unless someone bleeds. We stood on high mountaintops and took in the vast, last frontier, because they wanted us to know that the world is big, and you can participate in its healing. You can. Yes, you. They showed us by their own lives. No one can do everything, but everyone can do something. To mend the world, to clean up their little side of the street until this whole place can shine, which is what they did. Now, you might think, maybe I've made my parents out to be sounding like larger-than-life heroes, or martyrs who skipped the spa and the country club for the orphanage, or lone warriors without peers. Like they were touched by God in some special way that no one else has been. But that just isn't true. They're only one of many who have landed on an answer to the question, what will you do with your one wild and precious life? They are part of a long legacy of others whose love knew no bounds and who laid down their own lives to give and serve, and in the process discovered greater joy than a merely comfortable or convenient life could ever provide. There are all of these bold people out there living generous lives and yet somehow ordinary, in the best way. Like if you passed them on the street, you wouldn't notice. Quiet heroes, doing their little part, their big part, to repair the world. If we all did our own version of that, however large or small, imagine how society could look, or what it would look like. But the best part is we don't have to imagine. In addition to Stephen Moe, there is a community of others who are setting an example of their own version of this that we can all admire. And that's worth celebrating.